Power functions with modeling. Alright, determine whether the function is a power function given that C, G, K, and pi represent constants. I love that they have to emphasize that pi is a constant, as if people don't know that. For those that are power functions, state the power and the constant of variation. So this is kind of like what we were doing yesterday with determining if it was polynomial, and then saying the leading coefficient. But now we're saying if it's a power function, what the power is and what the constant of variation is. So 2 f of x equals 9x to the 5/3. So is this a power function? What is the power? And what's the constant of variation? Just the number in front. 9. For f of x equals 13. Is this a power function?
Yes.
Yes. What would the power be? 0. Constant of variation? 13. Because we could have x to the 0, which would make it still a power function. 6 ke of v equals 1/2 kv to the 5th. Is this a power function? What's power? Constant variation? C, G, K, and pi are constants. So what do you think I need to put? 1/2 K. So you got to pay attention to what variables are variables and which ones are constants. Which I know if it's not in front of you, it's a little bit confusing, but just make sure you pay attention to that when you're looking at the instructions. 10. F of A equals M times A. Anybody know what that's formula for? Mass and not altitude. Acceleration. It's the equation for force, Newton's second law. Fun fact. Is this power function?
No. Yes.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
The power of 0.
It is not to the power of 0.
Oh, it is.
So let me give you a little hint here. And all of these other ones that we've done, where have you gotten the power from?
The constant.
No. The variable. How did you know what the variable was?
Oh.
It tells you in parentheses what the variable is. So what's the variable for this one? So what would the power of A be? 1. So then the constant of variation has to be M. Determine whether the function is a monomial function given that, I guess that's an L, and pi represent constants. For those that are monomial, state the degree and leading coefficient. For those that are not, explain why not. So number 12, f of x equals 3x to the negative 5. Would this be monomial or not? Why?
It's negative.
Yep, not monomial. is a negative exponent.
So is that just like, does that mean it's polynomial?
It's kind of the same thing. These are just functions that have like one singular number, monomial. So to classify it as monomial, it would be the same thing. There's just one. But it's going to follow the same rules as the polynomials yesterday did. 14, y equals negative 2 times 5 raised to the x. Is this monomial? What do we think?
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no? I see some yeses, I see some nos. It is not. Anybody know why it's not?
Because the exponent is very variable. Wait.
Yeah, because there's a variable in the exponent.
Yeah. I spoke in backwards.
I knew what you meant. A equals L times W. Is this monomial?
Yes. No.
Yes.
I would say
Because they told us that L was a constant, W would be the variable. Now they want to know the degree and leading coefficient. What's the degree?
Zero. 1.
1. It would be the exponent on W. Leading coefficient is L, because they told us L was a constant. Write this statement as a power function equation. Use K for the constant of variation if 1 is not given. So 18. The volume V of a circular cylinder with fixed height is proportional to the square of its radius r. All right, so first of all, do we know what the volume of a circular cylinder is?
V equals 2 pi r. Wait.
2
Pi r squared.
So pi r squared would take care of the circle part, but volume also would have to multiply by height. So this would be our generic formula for the volume of a cylinder. Now, it says that it has a fixed height. So what does that imply to you?
Like, it's not going to change. Like how the last one had stuff inside.
So it is constant, right? So it's proportional to the square of its radius r. So all I have to do on one like this is say they didn't tell us a constant, so we're going to use K for our constant. That's what the instructions say to do. So V equals K times R squared. So essentially K is representing the pi and the H in our equation. All right, now a lot of these are formulas that you won't necessarily just know. And so what I'm doing is you will have a couple odd ones that you have to do. And then this is the only even one. So, but what I'm telling you is on your quiz and or test, they will only come out of the ones that you've been given, like for homework or something, that you can check them. So make sure when you do them that you check them and do them right. For number 19, because that's going to be one that you have for homework, the hint is going to be that V equals IR. But that's not the answer to the problem. That's just a hint to hopefully help you. 24. Write a sentence that expresses the relationship in the formula. Use the language of variation or proportion. So it says C equals pi d, where C and D are circumference and diameter of a circle, and pi is a constant. It says it's usual mathematical constant, but anyways. So based on that, I want to use words like either proportional, varies directly, varies inversely. Just trying to see. So remember, direct variation is a power function formula with positive powers. Inverse variation is a power function formula with negative powers, or essentially if there's like a fraction. So what do we think about this one? How would I relate the stuff that I have here?
Diameter equals R to R.
C is a direct variation of D.
So if two things are equal to each other, what do we say that they are?
Congruent.
If I said that 2/3 is equal to 4/6, what would you tell me those are?
The same.
Would it be congruent?
Equilateral.
Starts with a P.
Proportional?
Proportional, yes. So these two things are equal to each other. So C related to D would be that I would say the circumference C of a circle is proportional to its diameter D with constant of variation pi. And that's how you would have to write these statements out. You don't just get to write proportional. Like, you have to actually, like, write the statement. But with these also, okay, so 23 through 26, you also will only be given one that you've had in class. Okay, like, either that we've done or that you have for homework. So I'm going to do the even ones, you'll have the odd ones. 26 says D equals P squared over 2G, where, I'm not going to tell you what all this, I'm just going to read it. Where D is the distance traveled by a free-falling object dropped from rest, P is the speed of the object, and G is the constant acceleration due to gravity. Just a fun fact for you in case you end up taking physics, G is equal to 9.81 meters per second squared. All right, so how would I relate these things? So I have a fraction now. G is a constant. So I have positive exponents, so which thing is it?
This is one of
Nope. I'm looking for either proportional, varies directly, or varies inversely.
Varies inversely.
Inverse goes with negative exponents.
direct variation.
Direct. So what I would say is the distance d traveled by a free falling object dropped from rest varies directly with the square of its speed p with a constant of variation of 1 over 2g. And that's all we're doing with this section. So the problems are going to be 1, 3, 9, 15, 17, 19, and 21, and then 23 and 25.
Do we have time to do the class?
I would think you would be able to finish it before you leave today.